Lean manufacturing for Microsoft Dynamics AX 2012 introduces a new architecture that models lean manufacturing processes based on production flows and activities. This video showcases a simple scenario of how to create a production flow, an activity and the related Kanban rules to support the required scenario. The manufacturing scenario consists of one process activity, the production process. This process replenishes the supermarket based on Kanbans. It requires a resource group configured as a lean manufacturing work cell. The second activity modeled in this scenario is the activity that transfers material in Kanban handling units to the manufacturing work cell from the material warehouse. The scenario is using two warehouses and requires 3 locations. The material warehouse MW using an output dock for the warehouse. The production warehouse prod W using the locations WPC as input buffer and the work cell sub 1 as a supermarket where the output of the work cell is buffered for consumption. Let us assume that all warehouses are located on site 1. Before we can configure the production flow and the Kanban rules, we have to create the dependent base data. We start with the configuration of the inventory breakdown. Open the warehouses form under Inventory and Warehouse Management. Set up Inventory Breakdown Warehouses. Create a new warehouse. Select the site. Create a default aisle for the warehouse. Create a location for the warehouse. In this case, we're going to create an outbound dock and give it a specific name. Create a second warehouse. On the same site. Again, create a default aisle. And create the 2 locations that we need. Both locations are created as bulk locations. We can now create the work cell. The work cell is created as a resource group. The resource groups are maintained in the organization administration. Create a new resource group. On site 1. Mark the resource group as a work cell and assign the input and output warehouse and location. In the Operation tab, assign a runtime category. In the Calendars tab, assign a calendar. In the Worksite Capacity tab, add a worksite capacity. For this, you have to assign a production flow model. If no model is assigned, use the View Details functionality to open the administration of production flow models. You can here create new models or modify existing ones. When using a production flow model of the model type throughput, you have to assign a capacity period. You have to assign the average throughput quantity and a unit of measure related to the throughput quantity. These are the minimum required attributes of the work cell in Microsoft Dynamics AX. You are now ready to set up a production flow and activities. To configure production flows and activities, open the production control area. Go to Setup Lean Manufacturing Production Flows. Create a new production flow. Add a description. Select the value stream. If no matching value stream exists, use the View Details functionality. Select the production group. Now add a version to the production flow. After creating the version, you can now start configuring the activities. Add a new version activity. Let's start with the process activity. The process activity requires a work cell. Find the work cell that you created. Use the default parameters on up and on hand receipt. Also use the default parameters on the picking activities. Set an activity time. Now add the transfer activity. Select the activity type transfer. Select the replenished work cell. Do not change the default settings on a finished product. The transfer to location is taken over by the replenished work cell. Select the picking location and warehouse. The transfer is rated by the shipper. Again, add an activity runtime. Before activating the production flow, you have to create all activity relations. Select one of the activities and add a predecessor or successor. Review the version details. Select a specific tag and define a period for actual cycle time. Also define the unit of measure and the quantity per cycle. You can now try and validate the production flow version. If the validation succeeds, you are ready to activate the version. Now the production flow can be used for production. To finalize the configuration, you now have to create Kanban rules for the products you want to produce on the production flow. Create a new Kanban rule. Select the activity that you created and assign a product. Fill in the other mandatory fields of the Kanban rule. Now you're ready to create Kanbans. The configuration of a production flow and activity for lean manufacturing in AX 2012 separates the definition of the processes from the configuration of the product-specific behavior configured in the Kanban rules. This provides an understandable structure of configuration and allows to implement a security model that separates the responsibility for the process definition and manufacturing execution.